Welcome to Pastor Andrew's Inspirations. If you enjoy these videos, please click on the red subscribe button below the video and click the bell for more. Welcome to our online church, a congregation made up of many from around the world. No offering is necessary. Subscribing and watching videos will keep us alive under God's watchful eyes. Today we will be talking about the ancient village of Chorazim. Chorazim was an ancient village in the Roman and Byzantine periods, best known from the Christian Gospels. It stood on the Chorazim Plateau in the Galilee on a hill above the northern shore of the Sea of Galilee, 2.5 miles from Capernaum. Chorazim was an Arab village established at the site of the ancient village and depopulated during the 1947 to 1948 Civil War in Mandatory Palestine on May the 4th, 1948, by the Palmach's 1st Battalion during Operation Yiftach. It was located 8.5 kilometers southeast of Safad. The nearby Israel town of Chorazim is named for this location. Chorazim, along with Bethsaida and Capernaum, was named in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke as cities in which Jesus performed his mission. However, because these towns rejected his work, they were subsequently cursed in Matthew chapter 11 verses 20 to 24 and in Luke chapter 10 verses 13 to 15. Gospels make no other mention of Chorazim or what works had occurred there. Due to the condemnation of Jesus, the influential apocalypse of Pseudo-Methodius predicted that the Antichrist would be conceived in Chorazim. Theologian John Lightfoot suggested that Chorazim might have been an area around Cana in Galilee, rather than a single city or village. What if under this name Cana be concluded, and some small country adjacent, which from its situation in some wood might be named Chorazim, that is the wood country. Cana is famous for the frequent presence of miracles of Christ. But away with conjecture. When it grows too bold, the Babylonian Talmud mentions that Chorazim was a town known for its grain. 2 settlement phases have been proposed based on coin and pottery findings. The town was partially destroyed in the 4th century, possibly because of an earthquake. Chorazim was populated by the Zangaria Bedouin tribe, and the village contained a shrine for a local Muslim saint, Al-Shaq Ramadan. The villagers used to store grain close to the shrine, certain that nobody would steal it and thereby violate the sanctity of the shrine. The Palestinian historian Walid Khalidi described the place in 1992. The site serves as an archaeological and tourist area. Some village houses still stand together with the remains of other houses. One of the old houses has been renovated. Also remaining is the tomb of Shaq Ramadan, around which the village shrine had been built. The tomb is collapsing, and the building in which it was housed no longer exists. It is surrounded by large carob trees. In his biblical research in Palestine in the mid-19th century, Edward Robinson visited Chorazim, but concluded it was not the biblical Chorazim because the ruins were not significant enough, and the site was not near the shore of the Sea of Galilee, as stated by Jerome. The ruins we had been told of lie of the west side of the same valley, a quarter of a mile southwest, near its entrance into the main wadi. They consist simply of a few foundations of black stones, the remains evidently of a poor and inconsiderable village. They are known as Kerbet Chorazim. We did not go to them, as there was no path, and because they were in full view. Their distance from Tel Hum must be reckoned at about 3 miles. We had come to this spot because the name Chorazim bears a degree of resemblance to the Chorazim of the New Testament, and we hoped to find in the ruins or the situation something which might determine the position of that ancient place. In this we felt ourselves disappointed. The remains are too trivial to have ever belonged to a place of any importance. Chorazim, too, according to Jerome, lay upon the shore of the lake, but this site is an hour distance, shut in among the hills, without any view of the lake, and remote from any public road, whether ancient or modern. Extensive excavations and a survey are carried out in 1962 to 1964. Excavations at the site were resumed in 1980 to 1987. In May to June 2004, a small-scale salvage excavation was conducted by the Israel Antiquities Authority along the route of the ancient road north of Moshav Amnon. In the literature, the road is referred to as the way through Chorazim, or Chorazim. It crossed the Chorazim Plateau from west to east, branching off from the main Cairo-Damascus road that ran northeast toward Daughters of Jacob Bridge. Many of the structures are made from basalt, a black volcanic rock found locally. The main settlement dates to the 3rd and 4th centuries. The town's ruins are spread over an area of 25 acres, subdivided into 5 separate quarters, with a synagogue in the center. Close by is the ritual bath mikvah, surrounded by public and residential buildings. The only synagogue visible today was built in the late 3rd century, destroyed in the 4th century, and rebuilt in the 6th century. The large, impressive synagogue, which was built of basalt stones and decorated with Jewish motifs, is the most striking of the surviving structures. An unusual feature in an ancient synagogue is the presence of 3-dimensional sculpture, a pair of stone lions. A similar pair of 3-dimensional lions was found in the synagogue at Kfar Baram. Other carvings, which are thought to have originally been brightly painted, feature images of wine-making animals, a Medusa, an armed soldier, and an eagle. In 1926, archaeologists discovered the seat of Moses, carved from a basalt block. According to the New Testament, this is where the reader of the Torah sat, in Matthew chapter 23, verses 1 to 3. Jacob Ory, who excavated the site in 1926 on behalf of the British Mandate Department of Antiquities, wrote about a second synagogue, 200 miles west of the first one, and he described it in detail. Later excavations, however, have not been able to find the remains noted by him. The handful of olive milestones used in olive oil extraction found suggest a reliance on the olive for economic purposes, like several other villages in ancient Galilee. The scholar and author M.R. James mentions Chorazim as a place of ill repute and a location on the Black Pilgrimage in his 1904 short story Count Magnus. This is the biblical ancient village of Chorazim. Adonai Nisi, the Lord is our banner. God's blessings be upon us all. Amen.